move on to another very important development that is going to happen starting tomorrow, and that is the second in-person Quad Summit. The leaders of India, United States, Japan and Australia will be meeting in Tokyo on Tuesday. Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has already left for the Quad Summit that is said to be one of the region's most important foreign policy summits of the year. The visuals of his departure on your screens playing out right now. He'll be in Japan for 2 days, will be attending crucial Quad meetings. There will be several bilaterals also on the card. 23 engagements in all lined up for the Prime Minister. It is going to be 40 hours of stay. Bilaterals with Joe Biden, newly elected Prime Minister of Australia, as well as, of course, the Prime Minister of Japan and the allies of the Quad. Remember, what makes it very, very important is that the latest meeting of Quad member comes on the very day, in fact, when the Russia-Ukraine war has entered the 4th month of its beginning. Now, this formation that came into being primarily to keep China in check now has also seen some internal differences. Keeping all those things in mind, how important is going to be Prime Minister's visit? To help us understand that, I am joined by G. Parthasarthy, who is a former Indian High Commissioner. He's been to Australia, to Pakistan and Myanmar, and understands India's foreign policy requirements like nobody else. Mr. Parthasarthy, if I were to ask you, Prime Minister, as he climbed those steps of that airplane, what were the 3 things that would be top of his mind?
One very clearly, the presentation which has to be made there amongst the Quad, where the question of Ukraine will be raised, but we can sidestep it and intend focusing directly on the problems. The problems really arise raised by one country. The Quad, however much we may deny it, is an alliance of countries who are deeply concerned at Chinese aggression and assertiveness and use of force across its borders in the Indo-Pacific region. So in the Indian Ocean, yes, it has problems with Indonesia, Malaysia, and also with other ASEAN countries. But in the Asia-Pacific region, everybody from Vietnam to Korea, China has serious problems where it has an inclination to use force, not to listen to reason. It has even defied the rulings of the World Court, and therefore we need to put this all together. What has happened thus far is the Quad has met. They have focused on security, and the fact of the matter is that as far as the Indian Ocean is concerned, extending from the Gulf till the Straits of Malacca near Australia, really the most powerful navy is the Indian Navy. Unless the US fleet joins. China has some submarines and other vessels here, and they are trying to build up Pakistan's navy. But predominant force here will remain the Indian Navy, and we have the backing, if necessary, to work with the American 5th Fleet, which is based in the Gulf, in Bahrain. So there is this strategy. The larger, that is in military terms. In political terms, we and economic terms have been focusing attention on getting, initially it was just a question of vaccines, which picked up but then lost momentum because of problems which the Americans and the British had with American companies and drug manufacturing this. But on hold is a plan to be able to supply 1 billion vaccines a year, vaccines to be manufactured in India.
Right.
Now, the other thing is, which is likely to come up in these discussions, are how do we integrate our economies more to keep it away from this Chinese domination. And the US has come out, their national security advisor, by saying we have discussions focusing on supply chains, digital economy, clean energy, and also on investments in infrastructure. So I think these are the issues which are going to come in.
Right. In fact, Sir, even as you highlight how it is important that the partners of Quad come together to counter China's influence, we are getting inputs that China has actually reacted to this upcoming Quad meeting. The Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, has come out to say, and this was in a bilateral summit, he was said earlier, where Pak's Bilawal Bhutto was also present, that US policy is bound to be a failed strategy. Now, this is not the first time, while the details of that statement will play out on our screens, this is not the first time that China has tried to say that this clique is some sort of an Asian NATO and it is bound to fail. Does that in some way show that China is actually wary of what this group coming together could do to its influence in the Indo-Pacific?
They certainly are nervous. This is a powerful alliance. Japan is very close by. The United States has had vast discussions with ASEAN, not too successful. But there are a number of ASEAN countries which are facing Chinese aggression, which include important countries like Indonesia, like Thailand, like Philippines, and others. So the Chinese are seen as an aggressive country which have violated international law.
Right.
For example, the boundary was with Thailand was settled by the International Court of Justice. China has defied the international court, and China has defied the World Court ruling on this.
Right. Sir, I'm running out of time. If I could, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to really take one reaction on this point. 3:1 is the ratio when it comes to the stand on Russia and Ukraine in this. US has said India has been shaky in its response. Do you think that these differences are also going to cast a shadow on the interactions?
No, I think the Japanese have understood us. I don't know about the new Australian government. Nobody knows. Because you have a Prime Minister and Foreign Minister with somewhat different inclinations than their predecessors. We'll have to wait that out. But yes, India will stand firm because the Quad is meant for Indo-Pacific security. Ukraine is not Indo-Pacific.
Right.
So that is the very clear answer.
Right.
This is what the Quad is all about.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and clarifying things as they stand in this matter. We take a very quick break. The Prime Minister